Within the past weeks, we've seen the price of Decentraland, Solana, and POLKADOT all reach new highs. So in this video, we will take a look at all three of them, and then I will provide you guys with my own personal opinion as to where I see them going forward. So if you would like to learn more about all three, please welcome to Chibind Brothers. My name is Joel. Please allow me to ask you to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn the notification bell, as it helps us with the YouTube algorithm to get our message to a wider audience. So what we will do is we will just transition straight into the chart of Decentraland. And as I said in my video last week, the really big catalyst behind Decentraland was the fact that Facebook changed the corporate of the company, the corporate company name into Meta. And the reason they're changing it, they changed it into Meta, is because Meta now, or ex-Facebook, want to focus on building a metaverse. And that right there was the connecting basically catalyst between Meta and this Decentraland taking off. Decentraland is not part of Facebook, or they don't have any type of deal, at least not yet. But it's just the fact that, having such a big US, company, now trying to focus into the metaverse, that was a big catalyst for people to start looking into metaverse projects, especially that are built on blockchain. And that's where really we saw the price of Decentraland shine. So then, from exactly everything that I explained last week in my last video, which I will link above or in the description below so you can go check it out. So now, as we look at the chart right here, guys, something that is really interesting that I wanted to show you is we first saw the price of Decentraland, or Meta, go from, bottoms of basically in the 70 cents, right? In the 70 cents, go all the way to reaching, a high of almost $5, $4.95, right? And this is within the past, week and a half to 2 weeks, pretty much, right? And so this high was reached on October 30th, right? And so, guys, as we saw this, right? But something that is interesting is ever since it reached that high, we've seen the price basically going back into this kind of consolidation, right? And so right here, we're looking at this consolidation and we're asking ourselves, well, is there something that, is indicating us here that has the trend died, or are we actually going somewhere, right? Because the problem with when we look at charts like this is, as a technical analyst, myself, a technical analyst, is when I look at a chart, my question is, okay, what has happened? What has happened is we saw the price go up and then consolidate. Now, what is the chart telling me as far as where we might be going forward, right? Because you always have to ask yourself those two questions. What happened? Where are we going? What happened? And what are we going is basically, from basically what is happening now, indicating where we might be going, right? And so first thing first is, as we look here, we have this Fibonacci retracement level that I've already traced, and I put the Fibonacci all the way up. And something that is really interesting, you can see that when the price was going up and it had some resistance here, some of those resistance was basically due to the Fibonacci up top of, about 23.6%, right? And so, but then, right, what's really interesting here, guys, is there is a really interesting pattern that's happening on this chart. A really interesting pattern, because as I've already traced, this line, right? This line is kind of a pole, right? And then this down right here, those two, red lines or trend lines are pretty much here indicating what we call a flag. So when you have a pole and a flag, this is a pattern that is called a bull flag pattern. And a bull flag pattern usually means that you would have a pattern that goes up like this, consolidates, and then breaks back above again. And guys, that is what I am reading as I'm seeing this chart right here. But that doesn't mean that that would necessarily happen, right? Because what I'm using right now is just statistics, and statistics is telling me that there is a higher probability of this moving to the upside. but it's also a probability that it might go down. But that probability is much lower than the probability of it breaking bullish. So now that we've got that one down, what else are we going to look at? Now we're going to look at volume, guys. We've seen that ever since, all the madness or the craziness that we saw down here, volume has basically kind of died down, right? And so what's really interesting here is, guys, there is something interesting that you can see here, what we would typically call a confluence of support and resistance as well, because we see the price down here is averaging here in between my blue line, my moving average in blue, that's my 50-day moving average, and then my white line, which is my 200-day moving average. So we see the price struggling here between those two resistance lines. Those two right there, kind of forms a confluence of two support line that I should have said. But then another thing is this confluence of support line is also reinforced by a Fibonacci 50% support line as well. So guys, right here we have a confluence of basically my Fibonacci 50% level, the 50-day moving average, and the 200-day moving average. And that right there is an indication that this support right here is pretty strong. And another thing is we would basically think that this is becoming like some kind of straight line with this line that is sloping down, right? And it's kind of as if the price is getting squeezed within this triangle. So I am expecting the price of Decentraland to shut up within the next weeks. So guys, this is pretty much what I'm seeing on Decentraland right now. And I really hope that this is basically conveying what I am basically myself expecting as far as where Decentraland might be going. But guys, do not take my word as financial advice. This is only fully my personal opinion, and that I may be wrong. And let's say you decide to get into this trade and you lose your attendees. Don't sue me, bro. Anyway, so guys, the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to move into, I think the first thing is we'll move into Solana. So as we're moving on into Solana, really the thing here we've seen with Solana is we've seen Solana reach a whole new high, right? And there is a lot of people out there that are really asking themselves the question of like, why are we even seeing the price of Solana, skyrocketing so much, right? And the reason, one of the reasons that has basically fueled Solana is really because on the Solana blockchain, the Solana blockchain is scalable, right? You can have a really high throughput or transaction per second, and which I can't remember the number exactly, but I know the transaction per second are pretty high, and also the fees per transaction are really slow. It's in the sense, right? And that really kind of gives Solana that competitive hedge in the in the smart contract space compared to like Ethereum and stuff. And another thing is also we've seen a massive craze of NFT minting on the Solana blockchain. And as we can read here, it says Solana's growth this year has been propelled by factors such as NFTs and decentralized finance, among others. In September, the Degenerate Ape Academy collection sold for millions. In October, a 14-year-old YouTuber, Abigail, sold her Sol-based NFT for $435,000. So guys, these NFTs have really created a huge ecosystem on the Solana blockchain, and that is really the catalyst behind what we've seen with Solana. So the question now is Solana have the potential of reaching $300, $400, $500, right? Let's just say $500. I think it's possible because in lately, right, some of the moves that we've been seeing on Solana is also due to partly what I'm about to read right now. So here it says, meanwhile, Sol received additional bullish cues from Solana's foray into Web3 gaming development via its venture capital arm, dubbed Solana Ventures. The firm announced Friday that it, alongside FTX and Lightspeed Venture partners, would invest $100 million into the game studios and technology sector. Guys, that right there is really, 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 really bullish. And why is that bullish? The reason why that's bullish is because now they're trying to also basically attract, funds and developers to come and develop games on the Solana blockchain, right? So you can now kind of like with Decentraland, which is a game, a virtual game, right, in the metaverse, right? You could now have new project that could be built on Solana that are metaverse project, right? Because we all know that Decentraland is built on Ethereum, but Ethereum is an issue, right? Even though they implemented EIP 15 what was it again, 1537 or something, I can't remember, but it's helping out with maybe burning out some tokens, but and maybe having a lot more of a predictability in terms of the gas fees, but the gas fees on Ethereum are still very expensive, right? But then when you have something that has low gas fees and high throughput or high transaction per second, right, now you can probably have much better performance in terms of apps built on the blockchain, right? And so that's one thing that is really pushing the price of Solana and why I'm also super bullish on Solana. So we'll go back to the chart and I will pull up the chart of Solana real quick just so we can kind of brush off a little bit as far as what is going on in Solana. So guys, as you can see here, I am on the 1 hour chart and I will change it to the day chart, right? And as I'm going on the day chart, my bad, let me do this. Okay, so as we're going here on the day chart, we see what's going on here. And guys, right now, you kind of, if you're trading Solana, you have to be a little careful, right? Because see here, RSI is kind of overbought. And so you have to be really careful as you navigating into this one right now. And, the price is really high, right? Right now we're trading at $249, almost 250. And the all-time high was like $263, $262, right? So we're just, a couple dollars away from the all-time high, right? And so I think Solana has to correct, right? We're probably going to see a correction that might go all the way down to like in the $200, right? And 215, 200 and something dollars, all the way to this support line right here before we see the price picking back up or going higher. Or if it's sharp, it might go all the way down to the Fibonacci 23% level. And that's going to be a pretty sharp correction if it happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it happens, right, and then once it is within these levels, right, and if you're a trader, you can buy somewhere down here and then ride it back up. So guys, last thing we're going to talk about is we're going to go into Polkadot. And as I made a Polkadot video about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, in that video, I said that one of the reasons that was behind the massive price propulsion of Polkadot was because of the announcement of the parachain that would have been launched sometime in November. And so here it says, Polkadot's first parachain has been added. Referendum 41 has passed registering the shell parachain on Polkadot to ensure block production, inclusion, and finalization. The shell parachain has extremely limited functionality. It does not even have the notion of account. So as it's saying here, right, the parachain is not fully functionable yet, right? But at least it's already been launched on the blockchain. So then now some of you may be a little confused as far as what is the parachain. So let's answer that question. Here it says Polkadot is designed to connect various blockchains in multi-chain network, enabling them to communicate and to pool security. These application sub-specific chains are known as parachains, which plug into the base platform known as the relay chain, right? So as we're seeing, guys, these parachains is basically a network that allows Polkadot, the Polkadot blockchain, to be connected to other blockchains such as Ethereum, such as Cardano and stuff, and they can pull kind of data from all those blockchains, and it allows basically Polkadot to create new applications in DeFi in so many places, and having those applications to be able to pull data from also other blockchains and stuff like that. And so kind of having that interoperability, right? And so that's really the biggest catalyst here. And that has also kind of helped Polkadot, rise a little higher within the last weeks, right? So we're going to look at dots, and as I am on dots right here, right? Guys, the last time I made a video, right? I was saying that Polkadot was finding some resistance within this, was going to find some resistance at this now support, right? But then I also said that once it moves kind of above and breaks this previous resistance and now support, the price would go all the way to reaching this higher resistance, which is what we saw. The price reached this higher resistance. Another thing is, guys, look down here, you know, RSI is a little bit of a bot, so we have to be kind of careful as we are trading this, and I'm on the day chart. So personally, I'm expecting at least some kind of correction. You know, I have to see RSI kind of go below, you know, the 67, somewhere down here in the 40, you know, 50 before we start marching higher, right? And the thing is, we're definitely going to see these coins march higher as long as we see the price of Bitcoin much higher in the $70,000 levels, $80,000 levels, and then we see Ethereum moving higher in 5,000, 6,000, right? As long as the bull market keeps on going as I'm expecting it, then there is a potential these will also be marching higher altogether. And one thing that I forgot to mention, not about Polkadot, is Solana. Solana has actually flipped Cardano, guys. That is big because now Solana is the world's, I think, the world's fourth largest cryptocurrency, if I'm not wrong. So what we will do is I will just open CoinMarketCap. Let's see, we'll just go to CoinMarketCap and we'll see, yeah, Solana is now the world's fourth biggest cryptocurrency, sitting at about $75 billion, flipping Cardano now sitting at the sixth place at about $67 billion. So guys, that's literally all I had for you guys today, and I hope that I provided you guys with enough value in this video. If that was the case, please allow me to ask you to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, as it helps my brother and I to get our message to a wider audience. With that being said, I like to say thank you, and I will see y'all in my next video on Sunday. Bye bye.